We're taking a live look at New York City right there. We're less than 24 hours ago. A devastating apartment fire claimed 19 lives in the borough of the Bronx, 9 of those being children. In just a few minutes, we're breaking down everything we know so far and how to protect yourself if you're using one of those kerosene, those space heaters that a lot of people are using this time of year. On this Monday morning, we say welcome to start your day. I am Mike Hill. Good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm Najahe Sherman, and this week for Sharon Reed. And we want to get right to the news because we have new developments on the tragedy that struck the Bronx this weekend. At least 19 people, including 9 children, are dead after a 5-alarm apartment fire on Sunday. So far, 63 people have been hurt. The fire started on the 3rd floor of the 19-story federal housing complex. It is now being called the deadliest blaze in 3 decades. John Lawrence has the latest.
During the tragedy, we are going to be here for each other.
New York City in shock and mourning after a 5-alarm fire erupts in a Bronx apartment, killing at least 19 people. Fire Commissioner Daniel Nigro says a malfunctioning space heater ignited the blaze.
The fire consumed that apartment that is on 2 floors and part of the hallway. The door to that apartment, unfortunately, when the residents left, was left open. It did not close by itself. The smoke spread throughout the building.
Some of the victims were children.
To see it in a mother's eyes as I held her, who lost her entire family.
Jesus.
It's hard to fathom what they're going through.
Authorities say more than 60 others in the apartment were injured, some of whom suffered smoke inhalation.
It's impossible to go into that room where scores of family who are in such grief, who are in pain.
About 200 members of the New York City Fire Department responded to the call. They say they found residents on every floor of the structure.
You can't do this if you don't feel attached to the city and this community. And I really want to thank them for putting their lives on the line to save lives.
Mayor Adams says this could be one of the worst fires New York City has experienced in modern times. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Such a sad tragedy. Fire safety is usually a big concern in the winter, of course, especially because of space heaters and kerosene heaters. Also, those Christmas trees. Yesterday's tragedy comes on the heels of last week's fire in Philadelphia that killed 8 children. Let's go to Robert Rocha. He's the fire chief in Corpus Christi, Texas, to talk more about fire safety. Thanks for joining us this morning, Chief. Hate that it's under these circumstances, but we need to know more information so we can prevent this from happening again. Because officials say a space heater, a kerosene heater, may have been to blame for yesterday's fire. We hear about these space heater tragedies often, maybe not to this extent, but what should people know if they're going to use them?
Well, good morning, and obviously my sincere condolences to the families impacted by this tragedy. And we applaud the heroic efforts of the FDNY on their efforts to rescue as many residents as possible, and also the efforts by EMS and first responders and hospital workers. They're to be commended. But tragedies like this occur all too often. Space heaters seem to be a primary cause of fire during the wintertime. And I want to remind residents that you need to keep flammable materials away from space heaters. That's what causes the fire. Also, have working smoke detectors in your apartment or in your home. And once you hear an alarm, alert 911 dispatchers when you hear or see smoke.
Chief, we know that you don't have intimate knowledge of the building, but the residents also say that sprinklers weren't working properly. Could that have helped?
Obviously, anytime you have fire suppression capability, such as audible alarms, fire sprinklers, smoke detectors, things like that, those help out with the early notification and extinguishment of a fire. I'm sure this fire is going to be under investigation. It's going to be given a lot of scrutiny, and those investigators will find out what the cause of this fire was.
Yeah, Chief, from initial reports, a lot of people are saying that it may have had a lot to do with smoke inhalation and not necessarily the fire itself, because the fire seemed to be contained to one floor, but the building had these self-closing doors. But the FDNY chief says the door for the unit where the fire started actually did not close. I've seen it. I've been in many of these buildings, especially in the Bronx, and a lot of times these doors are propped open. How can residents prevent this from happening in the future? Can you explain why that's an issue in the first place?
Well, you need to keep your door closed at night, especially because what will happen is if a fire begins in one certain part of an area, it will stay in that area and the closed door will inhibit smoke from traveling to different areas. Unfortunately, it seems like under these circumstances, the door was kept open and smoke continued to fill the apartment building.
And as we continue to learn more about that investigation, we know in Philadelphia, officials are investigating whether a child playing with a lighter near a Christmas tree could have started that fire. 8 kids, 4 adults died. The house was divided into apartments, but there were only 2 exits, and the front door and the back door were blocked. Was that legal? And should these fire codes be amended?
Well, what we need to do is we need to let the authorities in those jurisdictions take a look and see what the exact cause and what are those items that impacted or inhibited the ability for people to escape out of their building. We encourage all authorities to take a look to make sure that everybody is following the life safety code and the fire codes of your jurisdiction. Obviously, incidents like this are very tragic, but we have to learn from these tragedies so that we don't repeat them.
Chief Robert Rocha, thank you so much for starting your day with us and giving us this valuable information that a lot of residents around the country can use.
Thank you, sir.
Such a tragedy. To wake up and to hear the news yesterday was sad because I grew up in the Bronx, in the borough of the Bronx, and to see 19 dead is one thing, but then to hear how many children died because of this, and to know that it could have been prevented is that I think the saddest part about it. Like I said, I've been in many of these buildings, Najahe, where I've seen some of these doors that have been propped open or some of these doors left open, and for different reasons. I'm thinking about, and I'm not going to speculate everything that's going on, but from the reports you hear about someone using a space heater, it just reminds me of sometimes being in these buildings. And remember, these buildings, the heat is controlled a lot of times by the superintendent, by the building itself, and they may not feel like they get enough heat. And if they don't feel like they get enough heat, then of course they'll bring in alternative measures to warm up the apartment. But once again, the information is there. And we hear about this so many times every single year about these space heaters. And if you have a space heater, of course you have to learn how to use it properly, to keep things away from it. But at the same time, I just wish maybe there were measures by some of the space heater companies that could prevent something like this from happening. I don't know if it's something that turns off, if something gets too close to it or whatever. But we hear about these tragedies far too often, and hopefully something is being done about it so that we can not have to report these types of stories every single year.
Something absolutely has to be done, Mike, and just to hear the survivors' stories, I mean, the grief and the shock. Hearing one parent this morning, I saw online discussing as he raced to save his life and his 8 children's lives. I mean, this is just, it's horrific. It's devastating. Something absolutely needs to be done. And we know that this is the city's deadliest fire since 1990. Right now, Mike, I think about 13 people are in critical condition. And you mentioned this during the interview with the chief. A lot of the damage and the people who are suffering right now, it's due to that toxic black smoke. 9 of the 19 are children. So, you know, we're both parents. Hearing that, you can't imagine what that must be like for a parent waking up this morning and knowing that their child is no longer in their lives. And, you know, hospitals right now, the hospital workers, they're desperately working to save the lives of those who are critically injured. You know, still a lot of questions why this spread so quickly. But yeah, essentially this place turned into a death trap.
Yeah, and you hate to hear the stories of the families that lost everything. You heard the Governor Hochul there talking about how family member lost everyone in her family. Here's another sound, some more sound from one of those families that lost loved ones in this tragedy yesterday.
Yeah, 10 kids.
Right now.
These is kids I grew up with. I'm young. These is kids like, don't make no sense. These is kids we grew up with, kids I went to school with. We need security, bro. We need all that. We need all that. Everything that a regular building has, we need.
Are there no sprinklers there?
No sprinklers.
At
no
all?
Sprinklers, no sprinklers.
You see, that's the thing I'm talking about. In some of these buildings, it's like the codes. There needs to be more checks. We see, and like I said, I grew up in one of a building similar to this, where you see the fire doors basically in the hallways, and they say to make sure that these doors continue to be closed. But sometimes these doors are propped open for whatever reason to get air to come through there or whatnot. Sometimes the residents do it. I'm not blaming any of the residents, obviously here. But there needs to be checks, more and more checks to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again, whether it's a monitor on that hall, whether it's the superintendent, somebody to make sure that this doesn't happen. Because once again, as the chief said, that could have been contained to a simple area. But once again, fire needs air to breathe, right? And when it gets that air and that smoke continues to billow out, it'll go up many, many floors if the stairway door is open. And this seemed to be one part of the tragedy, because even if you're trying to escape and you're trying to come down the fire exit, there's nowhere to go because it's full of smoke. So once again, hopefully we can learn from these type of things. But right now, I just want to mourn the deaths and the losses, and we're definitely praying for all the family members who lost someone in this tragedy yesterday in the Bronx.